Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. We're on episode 2, well actually technically it's episode 1, because the last episode was like a prologue, but because on Netflix it isn't like, the prologue isn't classed as episode 0, it's classed as episode 1, so, you know, whatever. We'll put this as episode 1. we'll say this is episode 1 that we're doing now. Alright, so anyway, in the prologue, we got obviously reintroduced to the kids who were in Zero. They're grown up now, they're in high school, and there's another Holy Grail war happening. So somebody did point out that whilst the Holy Grail war thing was like on a set, like, you know, every 60 years or however many years it was, there is a reason why this one is sort of come around earlier, but I don't think it's been explained yet, at least like to the knowledge I have anyway. So they might you know, talk about it at some time during the show. I imagine they will, considering this is what it's about, but we'll see. So yeah, it was focused around predominantly Rin, who summoned Archer. So Tosaka have ended up with an Archer again, and I'm like an Archer. I like that dude. He's very sort of how would you describe him? He's very he seems earnest, but he's also like a tsundere as well. So he kind of has that connection with Rin, both being like you know what I mean. But he's very earnest, and I think he's very loyal as well. Just the way that he acts, I really like him. So, but yeah, he doesn't know who he is. That has something to do with the amount of mana that was used to summon him. It wasn't like adequate enough. So, I'm sure that'll come up at some point in the future. We also had Sakura, who is like officially considered like a part of the Mato family now. Like, she actually goes under that name, but she's also at the same high school. Shiro, the kid that Emiya or Kiritsugu took under his wing, he's going by Emiya now. So so there's that. There is another dude who summoned a Lancer, and we don't know who that is yet. However, he was using a sort of a spell to feed Lancer human souls, essentially, so that it would strengthen, well, Lancer, I'm guessing. Like, as if like I need to guess that. No, it is strengthening Lancer. So we don't know who the master is of that yet, because he was, you know, away somewhere hiding out, not in plain sight. Obviously, he doesn't want to be kept in plain sight. I have a theory that it's Shinji Mato, because it looks like Sakura isn't going to be a part of this Holy Grail war, at least as far as I could see. There wasn't a crest on her hand or anything, so I imagine she isn't taking part. So I'm going to have to guess as that Shinji Mato is the master of Lancer. So yeah, Lancer immediately fought, almost trying to kill Rin. Archer got involved. There was a fight already going on, and Shiro witnessed it. Lancer went after Shiro, stabbed him, might have even killed him. But Rin was there, left the pendant that was left by her father, like, with him, and I'm guessing that in some way either healed him or allowed for Saber to be summoned, and then Saber healed him. One way or the other, I'm pretty sure Shiro is the master of Saber. We obviously got introduced to Saber there at the end. Arturia, she is back. So yeah, I think that's all we really need to get into. So we're going to get in episode 2 and see what we get. Real quick, apparently this is... I just called it episode 2 again, didn't I? It's because I've written it down as episode 1, the prologue. And I've written down this is episode 2, because that's what it says on Netflix. We're going to have to go by it on Netflix, aren't we? We're going to have to, because otherwise this is going to get confusing. Alright. I mean, this is part 1. It says part 1, episode 2. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Is part meaning season or what? I don't know. Netflix fucks everything up. We'll go by what it says on Netflix, right? So it says episode 2 here, alright? But yeah, right? So this is another double length episode. So this will be the only one available for patrons, okay, today. So yeah, just so you know, because it's double length. So yes, right, we're gonna get into this then. Let's go. Yeah, what I was talking about there, just at the end of that reaction, was for some like the summoning circle which Saber appeared from was the thing that was I think it was the ring that was left that Irisveil in Zero was laying on when she was like, it wasn't when she was healing, was like she was weak, right? It was because she was weakening, right? And she basically lay inside that circle. So that is the hideout from Zero then. That's the same place. Alright. I thought it looked familiar. I fucking, but yeah, that's basically confirmed that. So that's good. Right, fucking bloody, now Shiro's already used the command spell. Fuck's sake. I think it's making a point, like, because this Holy Grail War is taking place a lot earlier than normally what it should, and that the masters are like only in high school, they're still kids, that I think it's pushing forward a point of like naivety and not really understanding the you know what I mean, like the value of these fucking command spells, you know what I mean? Because now Rin and Shiro have both used one up for seemingly, you know, the orders themselves seemingly for no purpose, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Saber is Saber's reasonable. You could have told her to stop and she would have. You know what I mean? You don't think you had to command her to do it. And then on the other side, Rin, she's an archer, you know what I mean? Like, they weren't attacking, but Saber just assumed and defended, right? So, you know, they've basically used up command spells for no reason. I think it was probably more of a waste on Shiro's side, because I think you just could have told her to stop and she would have without commanding her. At least Rin's like amounted to Archer actually, you know, respecting Rin from it, you know. But yeah. Also, apparently, it's not as difficult to use command spells than I previously thought. Then, I guess all you have to do is just channel like mana to the crest and then order. I guess that's all you have to do, because previously I thought that every time they used command spells, they would, you know, they would like chant like some incantation, or like they would say certain words, like you would a spell, you know. So apparently that's not even needed. As of now, just so I don't forget, I'm going to look up this Child of Light thing, because I'm going to try and avoid spoilers if I can, so I'll not go on like any Fate wiki or whatever if that's what it brings up. He was only called the Child of Light, right? It's gonna like bring up like fucking games and shit. Spearman? I'll just put in Child of Light Spear and see what that comes up. Oh, it's coming up with fucking Child of Light soundtrack, for Christ's sake. Ah, here we go. Gear Bolg. It's come up with the Wikipedia for that. It should be alright to go on that one, because this is just the history. It's not Fate and like anything Fate related. So, meaning spear of mortal pain and death. Very nice. Gaped notch spear or belly spear was the name of the spear of fucking Irish names. Fucking hell. Cuchulainn? Cuchulainn? I have no idea how the fuck you pronounce that. I just have enough on this page. Lancer is Cuchulain or whatever the fuck, however the fuck you pronounce that. In the Ulster cycle of Irish mythology, it was given to him by his martial arts master, the warrior woman Scathach, and its technique was taught only to him. It was made from the bone of a sea monster, the Coin Chen, that had died while fighting another sea monster, the Cruid. Although some sources make it out to be simply a particularly deadly spear, others, notably the Book of Leinster, state that it could only be used under very specialized ritual conditions. Okay. Huh. So it enters like, it enters the body like a normal spear would, but then opens up. It says here then opened up into 30 barbs. So it's like got like a, almost like a, I imagine it like an arrow. Like an arrow, for those of you that don't know, the way an arrow is made is specifically pointed, but it has these sort of like barbs that come off like the back end of the arrow. The reason for that is once it's in, like it's lodged in. So, you know, like if for instance like you aim at a rib cage, the idea is it goes in, but to try and get it back out, it's supposed to be like lodged in there. If you wanted to get it out, you'd have to like tear away like fucking, you know, it would basically harm you more to pull it back out. Essentially, that's the whole point. So with this thing, I kind of imagine it like that, but like once it's in, it's like 30 fucking barbs, like even worse. Only by cutting away the flesh could it be taken from that man's body. Yeah, so like once it's in, it's like kind of like, yeah. Seeing if there's any other interesting information about this here. He killed his own son, apparently. Great. So he's a good dude. I mean, why would he do that? It doesn't explain why he had to kill his own son. But I mean, he's talking about his master being like a bit of a bad dude. And like, he's like, yeah, well, so are you, mate. You know what I mean? I don't know, there could be more to the story that's just not explained here. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's that. I mean that's just the weapon. It's not really going into detail of, yeah. I mean I could look at all this. It's going to take me a while to kind of get through it and stuff. Apparently it shows striking similarities to Heracles. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking information here. It says here he kills his son. Takes him as an intruder and kills him when he refuses to identify. So he killed his son not knowing that it was his son. Ah, you bastard. Fucking hell. He didn't know it was his son, so... Alright. Fair enough. There's a lot here. There's like a lot. I don't really... We'll go into his death, but I don't really want to either, because some similarities that befall between, like, you know, that actually they use like some history of the characters like in Fate, so I don't want to go into it in case I get spoiled for like fate stuff. But I just wanted to know who it was really. But yeah. Okay, so that is that dude. Kukulane or Kuchulain, or I'm sure it's not Kuchulain. I think it's Kukulane. Yeah, there's a better way to pronounce that. Okay, so right from the very beginning, we had Shiro, who was woken up with Sakura. So it's a bit confusing. Originally, I wrote down like Shiro lives with Sakura ? But I don't think that's the case. I think Sakura wakes up early, goes over to make him breakfast. I think that's what happens. I don't think they live together. I think, because the thing that tells me that is because Shiro blames Shinji for, and obviously apparently this has happened in the past, like, or they have like this sort of image of Shinji like hurting his sister, that they still live together. Because otherwise, like, where would Shinji even have that, be able to do that? But, so yeah, I think that's what happens. Sakura goes over early in the morning, cooks some breakfast and whatever. I wrote down, same outhouse as the hideout in Zero. Confirmed that it is with that summoning circle, like, already being there, like, the sort of imprint of it being there. I'm surprised it actually, like, stayed there that long. Like, the summoning circle stays there. It stayed there for, like, 10 years. So that's nuts. We had in the prologue, Rin, when she realized Shiro was like, dead, and before she gave her the pendant or whatever the fuck, right? She basically said like, "What am I going to tell her? Like, how am I going to tell her this?" And she never mentioned a name. So I'm guessing it is either Sakura or it's Fujimura, I'm guessing. Like, it has to be one of those two, right? But I'm thinking because Rin has obviously got that connection with Sakura and Sakura has with Shiro, I'm guessing Rin probably is aware that Sakura likes Shiro, right? Because, it's quite clear that Sakura has an affinity for him. Like, that's fairly fucking obvious. So yeah, Fujimura is... she's a teacher at the school, but also goes by, like, Shiro's sister. Now, I'm not sure if that's the case. I don't know if that is even... I don't think... I mean, it's odd. That's an odd situation. Because normally, if... I would imagine, especially in, like, a respectful sort of culture like Japan... If Fujimura wasn't Shiro's real sister, right, then surely they wouldn't allow for a student to call a teacher, like, Fujine, right? Or, like, whatever nickname he called her, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Because there's a sort of, like, respect there in Japan culture. I guess there's a whole thing of, like, if the person who is supposed to be, like, respected more, like, allows it, then maybe that's the case. But I don't know what relationship, like, they had beforehand. I'm guessing they could always just have the older sister sort of relationship kind of thing, but like, maybe, like, before he actually became a student of, of that school. I'm guessing that could be a thing. But yeah, like, I doubt that's his real sister, because if that was the case, then why wouldn't he go live with her as opposed to... Although 10 years ago she would have been 15, right? If she is 25, so yeah, I guess he couldn't go live with her. But she must have been living with somebody, right? So, yeah, I don't know. She says she owns the place where they're living. So I'm guessing that... Shit, I can't remember what the fuck happened at the end of Zero. I remember, like, at the end of Zero, Emiya took Shiro, and they sort of... I think they helped repair, like, the hideout in that area in which Seiba and Irisville were living in, right? So maybe they got given, like, permission to stay there, but the real owner is actually, like, Fujimura, and, like, whoever owned it before her, maybe it got passed down to her kind of thing. It's like a family thing, possibly. I'm guessing that's what must be what it is. So if she owns it, she's fine to go there. but she's also allowing Shiro to live there, and obviously because they've known each other that long, that's why, yeah, because when Shiro was a kid, he would obviously refer to Fujimura as Fujine, right, as an older sister. So I guess it makes sense. All right, now that I've thought through and talked it, it makes sense. Shiro does have magic, so he has a sort of, I don't know where he's learned this. Because isn't there a thing in Fate where, like, you only have access to magic if your parents had it? I think there's, like, a thing where it's, like, passed down. So you have to have, like, an innate magical sort of essence that's passed down to you, right? I'm sure I've asked this question before in Zero. Like, is it possible for anybody in the world to do magic? It's just that you need it's just that whether, like, it just depends on how big your base, like, mana pool is. It depends on how much you can do. That's possible. Like I said at the beginning of this, before I started this episode, like, I wonder if there's going to be a thing where we actually learn about Shiro's actual parents, because if he's got, like, some magic, I mean, they did, you know, like Lancer and whatnot basically said it was faint, so it's not a lot. So if it could be a case of, like, he's the first of his family to inherit magic, or I'd imagine it's only one generation in, so like his parents had it maybe. But because I remember there was something like that with Waver only being like 3 generations in or something, so he wasn't all that prominent with magic. But yeah, so he has, like, some kind of, he calls it trace, and he has, like, different, like, things like alter and structure. So if he can alter, then it makes me think, obviously, I'm guessing Kiritsugu obviously is the one that's taught him it, right? I mean, because who else would do it? It has to be him. So I'm guessing the important part of Emiya's magic is not time, but it's alter. Would that be right? Because I always thought, like, oh, like, you know, if each sort of magic family, like, has, like, some specific form of magic that they're known for, right? I always thought for Emiya it was, like, time, and that's what it was. But if it's more about the altering something as opposed to time, then that would make sense, because I'm figuring that he's not altering time with that, he's altering the structure of whatever it is he's put himself into. But he can also trace it, so he can also, like, tell just by implanting his, like, magic into machinery that he can tell what's wrong with it. In some ways he was almost like an alchemist, because he was kind of, he altered the poster or the flyer thing, whatever it was, to be a bit harder, because he was able to use it as a shield just for a second though. If it was straight up paper, the spear would have just gone straight through and pierced him. So he was able to, like, harden it. So he's almost like an alchemist at some point. Student council president, his name's Issei. Just wrote that down just in case, because we still don't know who Lancer's master is. I mean, it's playing up this idea that it could easily be Shinji, but now I'm trying to think, after watching this episode, I'm like, is it too obvious? Like, is it too obvious it's him? I feel like it might be, you know, like, I feel like they're pushing this idea, oh, Shinji's a dick, Shinji's this, so it's obviously him. So now I'm thinking maybe it's not him then. I'm not as sure as before. Issei does have this sort of, he seems nice to Shiro, but he still has this, like, and this just might be the fact because he's a student council president, he's very, like, you know what I mean, like, he's not, like, very approachable, but he does have this sort of, like, almost look and personality about him that speaks, like, you know, he could be capable of this. So I'm just going to keep that in mind. Ilya showed up. And it can't just be a vision. It can't be, right? I don't know how, like, what kind of abilities homunculuses have, right? But, or homunculi, I guess, is the correct term, right? She just disappeared out of nowhere. She appeared out of nowhere and then disappeared out of nowhere. But she seemingly has some connection to Shiro. And I don't know if that's the whole thing of, like, knowing that obviously Shiro's connected to Emiya, and therefore there's, like, a connection there, and I don't know if that's something that's the case. We didn't get a confirmation whether Elia was a master or not. I'm guessing if she has this connection to Shiro, then maybe it's going to be the same as what it was in Zero, and she's just going to be, like, the stand-in. Although Rin now knows that that's not the case, so that'll not work the same way. But then I don't know how any of this is going to play out, because these kids have to fight each other, right? Like, Rin knows this. Shiro doesn't know it at the minute, but, like, you know, would they team up? I fucking God knows. God, I don't know how this is going to go. It's totally different to, like, Zero, where it's like each of the masters, like, have their own, like, they all come from different places. In this one, they're all in the same place and they all know each other beforehand. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's different. You know? Like, are they going to be able to fight each other? I don't know. Shiro being good with machinery. I wanted to talk about this in the reaction, but I didn't have time. It doesn't surprise me that he would be good with machinery, because I feel like that is something that Emiya sort of focused on a lot in his being a sort of like a freelance like type of, you know, like rogue, almost like assassin type figure, where like a hitman. He has all of this, like, access to the, like, this, you know, like, he loves his guns and stuff like that and shit like that. So I feel like maybe there's a crossover there as the reason why Shiro is a bit adept with machinery, because maybe that's why. I'm just trying to think of the reasons why, like, he would, like, why that would be predominantly the magic that he knows about. You know, he must have got it from somewhere, and I'm thinking, well, Kiritsugu is the only obvious candidate, so trying to find the connection there, I'm guessing that is what it is. Sakura with the crest that hadn't come through yet. When I noticed it, I was like, it has to be. It's not a bruise that, you know, that Shinji's given her. I was like, I know exactly what it is, but I'm like, how? Because in Zero, it was just a case of, like, oh, they have a reason to be in the Holy Grail War, it appears. There was no, like, oh, wait a minute, they could have a bit, you know what I mean? Like, they could have a reason. Like, they need a fully fledged reason to be in the Holy Grail War, right? They need like almost like a goal in mind for it, and that's what gives them it, right? That's the reason why at the end there, when Shiro got it, that, you know, like, he was fully focused on this idea of, like, you know what I mean, I've been given this life back, I'm not about to fucking, you know what I mean, like, I'm obliged to fucking keep a hold of it. You know what I mean? So anything that I can do to stop that from happening, I will. And then he was able to, you know, he got it, and Saber was summoned. So yeah, it's the same with Sakura then. So she's still in it then. I was thinking after the prologue that wouldn't be the case, but because I thought all of the 5. Here's the thing though. No, because they did explain, like, 5 masters has already been chosen, right? They explained that from, like, the very beginning of the prologue, and at that point, Sakura did not have. She did not have the crest at that point, and Archer and Saber has already been picked by Rin and Shiro, so she can't be a part of it then. There can be an 8th though, and isn't there an instance where, like, another one can be summoned? I'm sure they mentioned that at some point. But the fact that it was there and it was almost... I wonder if it's a thing of like if the Holy Grail was weighing up, like whether it should be Sakura or Shiro, and that's the reason why it only had like a bit on one and a bit on the other, and it was still deciding. Possible. That fucking Kazuki Sensei guy, he's so fucking sinister. Did you see him like call out for Issei and he looked around like fucking like the teacher was like standing like with like a proper like dark shade like over his face. You see, like shit like that. Those details are what throw me off all the time because I'm like, they're pushing forward this idea that Shinji's too fucking like, he's too much of a dick and he's too much in the spotlight of being a dick for it. It's going to be too obvious for him to be Lancer's master. So now I'm thinking like, wait a minute, with those two, I'm going to throw it out there. I think Issei is the fucking Lancer's master. I'm going to throw that out there because I think like, why would you throw that in there? I feel like the Fate writers throw stuff, they don't just throw stuff in willy-nilly, right? There was a reason why the teacher got called him out. I think the teacher is aware of like, either he's a magic user himself and he is like teaching Issei about it. I think that's what it is, you know. I'm gonna say that. I'm going all in on this as well. So if I'm wrong, I will slap myself in the face. Where we at? There's a murderer. Of course there is. Because why wouldn't there be? You know what I mean? Holy Grail War equals there's got to be a murderer on the loose somewhere. Just like Ryunosuke was in Zero, there's another one out there. So I haven't even thought about that one yet. I mean, it's easy to judge a book by the cover and just be like, oh well, it's clearly the one that has Caster as their servant. But you know what I mean? You don't know because the Caster guy like could be a good fucking, like, you know what I mean, like a fucking some mage from the past that was actually, you know, a good old wizard. I don't know. Because what else we've got? Lancer, Saber, and Archer have been revealed. The other ones haven't. So yeah, there's still Caster, Assassin. The Assassin could easily be like part of the murderer. So there's Assassin, Caster, Berserker, and Rider left. So yeah, still a lot to be revealed. Yeah, when we got a flashback to Kiritsugu coming into the like the hospital ward and asking Shiro if he wanted to be adopted by him, right? Kiritsugu just literally came out and just said, by the way, I'm a magic user. As if like it's fine to do that. I thought that was prohibited. Like, you're supposed to keep the whole magic idea away from everyone else. Or is it a case of the public knows that there's magic, but it's the Holy Grail War that is prohibited from being? Maybe so. If you wouldn't mind, tell me in the comments, and I'll because that'll be good information to actually know. But I wanted to know exactly the other kids that were in there, right? Were they orphans as well from that whole attack? Is that what happened? Because otherwise, that's sad, man. You know what I mean? Like a kid who's like lost everything, just watching like somebody come in and, you know, offer to be taken by, you know what I mean, by somebody. But yeah, I guess all orphans are like that. Like I can't imagine that. I've been an orphan and like just watching as like you don't get picked. Like, that's gotta be fucking horrible, man. So yeah, we had Fujimura at some point when Sakura like was off to meet with Gilgamesh. She said she sent Sakura with one of her guys. What does that mean? What does that mean? One of her guys. I mean, she owns like this this area, like it's a pretty big fucking area with multiple like different buildings and stuff. I don't know if there's like I was like, if she owns that, maybe she's a bit rich and has some servants. But then, if that was the case, why doesn't she have servants cook them food as opposed to always asking for Shiro or Sakura to cook food? So I guess that's not it. One of her guys. Was it Gilgamesh that you meant? Does she have a thing with Gilgamesh? Oh my god. I don't know. Because I don't know if Sakura went to meet with Gilgamesh or she sent Gilgamesh with Sakura. There could be multiple things. I don't know. Fucking Lancer attacked before he formed. That was nuts. That is ridiculous. The fact that he can just stab someone and then form. He can essentially... He's like an assassin. He's like Assassin. He might as well be Assassin. Like, he can be invisible and attack. You know what I mean? That's nuts. I guess that's only really relevant to humans though, because other servants are aware when a servant is like not formed, right? They know that they're there. So I guess it's only relevant to like humans and stuff. Still though, fucking hell. So yeah, the pendant healed him. The pendant is what healed him. So yeah, that was a question that I had at the end of the prologue, because I was thinking like in the prologue episode, like you never know that Shiro has any magic. That's never stated. So I was like, well, wait a minute, if he doesn't come from a magical family, then he doesn't have any magic. He doesn't have any mana to summon anything. So maybe the pendant gives him mana and he can summon with that. But no. The pendant just healed him. So then yeah, Shiro went back. He dodged fucking Lancer's first blow in the rematch, which how the fuck did he know that was gonna happen? That was a mad dodge for a human. That was nuts. Yeah, and then all that happened. Saber comes back. Amazing fucking fight scene again. I love the animation in the show. It's so good. Saber's callback to Zero about this is I am convinced that is an actual callback to Lancer back in Zero, because obviously Saber and Zero fucking damn it, Saber and Lancer had that thing in Zero where they were like, you know, they were sort of fated and destined to fight to the end, and they were sort of honorable to each other. Until that whole shit went down with Lancer, and Lancer fucking, you know what I mean, thought Saber was in on it and shit. Fuck, it was nuts. But I love the callback, and I'm sure it's a definite callback to that. She said, you know, I don't tarnish. It was something like, don't tarnish any, like, it's like spearmen or something like that, right? I'm gonna have to fucking look. Yeah, if you simply stand there, you'll give spearmen a bad name. I think that's a callback. Like, I think there's a little callback there to what you call them. I did like you see, because it's more fucking it's more bloody of these Irish names which are so tough to pronounce. I don't even remember which episode it was that he died in. Diamweed, right? I'm sure it's a callback to that. But yeah. So yeah, I love the callback. And yeah, I think that's it. Finally, Lancer's noble phantasm called Gaia Bolg. Saber seemingly found out what it does, which is reverses cause and effect, which is I don't know what that would even entail, like reverses cause and effect, because seemingly when he attacked, it was like something time based, like there was something to do with time there where it's sort like the attack happened, but then it sort of like reverted back to current time, and then the attack happened. You know what I mean? It's a tough one to explain, that one, but if you say that it reverses cause and effect, and that means that the effect happens before the cause. If it's like revert in time, because it was obvious that it sort of like reversed back to a time, and then he attacked. So it's almost like, yeah, the effect started before the attack happened. It's weird, but yeah, if you've got any more information like on that as to like how that works, I think that's how it works. But if I'm wrong, let me know. But yeah, anyway, that is also, thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I have links to certain things. Discord, get yourself over there, join in. I'm over there. Come talk to us. My website, SirMonkeySuit.com, all my content is over there, so get yourself over there. And Patreon. So I do have a Patreon. If you don't want to support me, I'll be very much appreciated. Bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's $5 early access. You get everything a week early, and 4 episodes of Fade every single week. $10 a month, that's the full length, so you get access to my full length library. Everything I react to gets a full length. Exclusive tier, $15 a month. That gives you access to a bonus show which I'm reacting to, which is 7 Deadly Sins right now. So if you're interested in that, become an exclusive tier patron. $50, that's the elite tier. Every time you pay $50, you get a choice of a show that you want me to react to, and I will react to it. It will go at the back of the list by about 7 shows. Might take me a while to get round to it, but I will do eventually. But if you don't want to wait that long and you want to get your show at the very top of the list so that your show gets reacted to next, and you want to get God tier, which is $100. But that's all. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.